Here's my honest reaction to Naima Akef, one of the biggest names in the golden era of Egyptian aka ballet dance history and my favorite dancer of that time. In this video, I am going to offer you my fluff-free, bullshit-free reaction to one of her most iconic dance performances in a very famous movie also from the golden era called Tamr Henna. I am not going to comment on the most famous scene from that movie, but I am going to comment on my favorite dance scene from that movie. My name is Joana Saahirah, and if you don't know me yet, I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, and author. I'm also the creator of the pioneering Joana Saahirah's World and online dance school, delivering authentic Egyptian dance and personal empowerment. I'm also the creator and host of the Oriental Café podcast, and I started my career in Egypt more than 25 years ago. If you can believe it, it's a long time. And one of the reasons that made me fall in love with Egypt and made me move to Egypt to start my career there was precisely the amount of history, knowledge, and insights that I knew I would have. One of the first dancers I fell in love with once I moved, not as a student but as a professional Oriental dancer in the Cairo dance market, was Naima Akef. In the movie we are going to watch, Tamr Henna, she plays a Khazeya. Khazeya is a gypsy dancer, singular of Khawazi. The Khawazi were gypsy public dancers that performed side by side with the Awalem, that usually only performed inside of the homes, in the harem, the women's quarters. There is a lot of history surrounding the Awalem, the Khawazi, how they represented different markets and different types of dancers, and I will highly suggest that you check as a bonus resource the webinar I have done with the author Karen van Nieuwkerk on A Trade Like Any Other, a legendary book where she goes deeply into the history of female entertainers in Egypt in the 19th and 20th century. She tells you all about the Khawazi, the Awalem, and much more. I am going to share the link to this webinar I did with the author in the description box below this video. So once you finish it, please go there and check that extra resource. Now, it is incredibly important to understand that a Khazeya or Ra'asa, an Oriental dancer in a movie in Egypt, usually doesn't end well. And the movie Tamr Henna is no exception. I'm not going to give you any spoiler alert because this is a movie that I will recommend to every Oriental dancer. So if you haven't watched it, please watch it. But she doesn't end well. And the scene we are going to watch and analyze, it's a final scene where she dances, she's dared, she's challenged to dance with a former lover who ends up, spoiler alert, no spoiler alert. Okay, she represents the best of Oriental Sharqi. She represents the best of the golden era, and although she did not come from a dance background, she came from a circus family, if you can believe it, the Akef family circus tradition. She is, in my opinion, the best Oriental dancer of that time and the most technically prepared. Mahmoud Reda, the father of Egyptian folklore, with whom I studied and worked during all the years I lived and performed in Egypt, told me once that Naima Akef, the dancer I am going to analyze today, was the only one that could learn and reproduce choreography. That in itself says a lot about her body awareness, her technique, and her professionalism. But I'm not going to extend this introduction any further. We are going to jump into the final dance scene of Tamr Henna, analyzing Naima Akef, an icon, a legend in the history of Egyptian dance, also known as belly dance. Before we go into it, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, and don't forget to join our newsletter if you are a fan, a hardcore lover of authentic Egyptian dance and personal empowerment. All information about our newsletter and how to join it for free in the description box below this video. Now, without further ado, let's watch Naima Akef in Tamr Henna, and let's notice what is there for us dancers of today to learn? Ready? Yalla bina. Okay, beautiful. So let's start here. There is so much to cover. First things first, I don't know if you noticed, but in the beginning of the dance piece, she wraps her scarf around the hips. This is a very symbolic gesture that may go unnoticed if you're not an Egyptian or if you're not from an Arabic culture, because that's not a gesture that we associate with something meaningful. It is not a symbol in our culture. But in Egypt, when a woman wraps a scarf around her hips, or when another woman wraps a scarf around her hips, that's a symbolic gesture that opens the spectrum of magic. It says, now I am going to show you how I dance. Therefore, I am going to reveal my soul. I am going to reveal secrets. It's a highly symbolic and meaningful gesture that opens the spectrum, opens the doors for the magic of Egyptian dance and what it can reveal. So it's not a coincidence that this particular scene starts with her wrapping the scarf around her hips with a very feisty, very almost challenging attitude. Let me remind you, she's dancing for, against, with a former lover who ends up doing something not so nice to her in the end of the movie. So she's now alone, but she will not be for a while. As you will see, a man is coming into the picture. Now, aside from wrapping the scarf around her hips, there is something about the elegance and the sharp reading of the music that has gradually been lost in today's dance scene. First, the elegance. That has to do with the physical and the mental posture of the dancer. Okay, so you cannot teach this. You can either allow your students, if you have students, to tap into their elegance, their self-confidence, their self-respect, but you cannot give it to them if they don't want to give it to themselves. It's incredibly important, more than ever, to look at yourself as a dancer with confidence, with respect, and behave accordingly, okay? And this is not morals. This is not an ethical point of view. This is just about presenting yourself as a dancer with the elegance and the dignity that I believe you deserve, okay? And you can tell that Naima Akef was an artist who respected herself by the way she portrays her body, the way she carries herself. It's like she knows she's a queen and she's not afraid to show it. I really love that. Then the reading of the music. There is an attention to detail. She marks the big accents in the music, but she doesn't overdo it. This is something in common with the other two reactions I have shared in the channel so far. I have reacted to Fifi Abdu and Monel Said. You can find those two videos also in the description box below this video. I'm going to share them there. And this is definitely a common thread amongst these different dancers. They don't overdo, they just listen to the music and mark it as they see fit, without overgiving, without hysterical, rushing, aggressive, overwhelming, and meaningless movement. Every single movement is there for a reason, okay? There is no excess. There is no fluff. There is no, as we say in Egypt, kalam fadi, yani kalam fadi, empty talk. No movement is empty. It's there for a reason and it's saying something. So there is this elegance, but there's also this clean movement in deep synchronicity with the music. That is, let me remind you, not old school belly dance, but good quality belly dance. Okay, so sometimes I hear dancers talking about it as vintage belly dance or old school or old style. It's not old school or old style. It's essential. It's classical. It is eternal. It is what it is. The same way we don't say You know, Beethoven is old school. Beethoven is not old school. Beethoven is a classic. You know, we cannot say this is old school belly dance. It's just belly dance. It's just Egyptian dance. Raks Sharki. That's the correct name of the dance. Okay. So we're going to continue watching and admiring the different dimensions, the different levels that are there to be learned from. Okay. It's so important to learn how to watch, how to see, and extract the pearls from what we are seeing. As dancers, we need to do that. So let's continue watching Naima Akef. Of course, as you can deduce, these are the guests joining the feeling, joining the mood that she's creating with her dance. There is always a lot of humor in Egyptian movies. I would say in Egyptian identity, silliness, a lot of laughter. This is, by the way, one of the things I miss the most about working and living in Egypt. It's the sense of humor. And you can tell by the reaction in the guests that Oriental dance is something that Egyptians adore. It's a very contradictory subject because it's haram, yani according to Islam, it's something that shouldn't happen. It's definitely forbidden if you are performing publicly or in front of men who are not your husband, your son, direct male relatives. But at the same time, Egyptians remember from their soul what is Egyptian dance, what is their Oriental dance, and they know it in their hearts. They love it from their hearts and they respect it despite all the prejudices and all the taboos that surround the dance these days. During all the years I performed in Cairo, mostly for local audiences, Egyptian audiences, I remember the split I always observed in my audience between their love and understanding and deep recognition of the dance from their soul, and the other side of their psyche that told them this is wrong. Yani, raqs, sharki, haram, aib. This should not be happening and I should not be here, probably. It is not a good thing. And the professional Oriental dancer is bad. She's immoral. She's not good. Okay, so there is a contradiction, one of many in Egyptian society in relation to dance, Oriental dance specifically, and dancers. And here, in the reaction of the audience at the wedding, you can feel a little bit of that contradiction. They love it. They love to watch her dance. But in the end, she's not going to end well. And people are going to support that bad ending. They're going to understand. Of course, she doesn't end well. هي رقاصة. She's an Oriental dancer. So more about that in a little while. Let's keep watching. Okay, so this is an important character. Again, I don't want to do a spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you who this is, but he's carrying a Saidi outfit or a Saidi traditional look with an asaya, a Saidi stick. So that's what we are going to see from him. He is a Saidi, Upper Egyptian man, and he is going to interact with her. And a lot of what you are going to see in terms of their movement to each other has to do with the history. It has to do with the storyline, the plot of the movie. So once again, I don't want to do spoiler alert, so I highly suggest that you watch Tamra Henna. Okay, it's available on the internet and it's a must watch for lovers of Egyptian dance. So this is our Saidi character coming into the picture and dancing with her. And I don't know if you noticed, but she was a little bit scared when she saw him. Okay, and there is a reason for that. That's all I can say. Okay, so let's keep watching. Okay, so he's talking with her using Saidi movement coming from Tahtib. That's a martial art from Upper Egypt. It's very masculine, it's very strong, it's warrior-like, macho man, okay? And there is a reason why he's coming into this dialogue with that register, or there are different reasons for it. She answers in a very feminine, very soft, very sharky Oriental manner. This is a question and answer part of the music, and they're both playing their parts and both representing the masculine and the feminine in Egyptian society and also in the dynamics of the movie. What I really love about this interaction is the question and answer coming from the music, but also how he represents a masculine, aggressive, assertive, and dry way of moving. That's from Saidi, from Tahtib. And she represents the other polarity, a softer, more fluid, feminine, emotional, and perhaps vulnerable and fragile side of the dance. That's Sharki, Oriental dance. Both play their roles and both answer each other in a kind of tension and dramatic flair that I really love. This is also the actress in me talking, okay? I'm a professional dancer, but I have been a professional actress and I'm educated as a professional actress. So whenever I watch a movie scene like this, I look at the dance, but I also look at the acting, what's going on in the scene, what the actors are doing, what it means. And I really love this clash between the masculine and the feminine coming from the music and embodied by Naima Akef and the actor who is dancing with her. Let's continue watching. Okay, very good. So here we see a shift in the energy, in the mood. There is a kind of a fast Saidi groove. Once again, he's doing Saidi steps and she's doing Oriental steps, but to the same rhythm. And there is an increasing tension in the scene. Again, I don't want to tell you why, because if I do, that will be a major spoiler alert. But I think you can feel that increasing tension in the scene and how the dance reflects that tension. Her hips become more assertive, more energetic, a little bit more stressed, but still very much in sync with the music and very much in sync with the question and answer dynamic that comes from the music. That is, by the way, a characteristic of classical Egyptian music. The question and answer in the music reflected in the way we dance, in the way we respond. Okay, so if there is that dynamic in the music, my job as a dancer is to read it. It's to bring it out. It's to embody that question and answer dynamic from the music. And that's exactly what she's doing. Okay, now I also want you to notice that although she's moving everything, there are traveling steps, there are arms and hands, her hips are the center. She's marking the music, the accents she chooses to mark with her hips. The core, the heart of her dance remains in the hips even when she travels and goes crazy. That is another characteristic of traditional, more classical raqs sharqi and something that we have been gradually losing in modern Egyptian dance these days. So I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. It's just something for you to think about. Okay? Would I want to recover more of that heart in my hips? More of that musical interpretation focused on the hips? Or is this something we want to leave behind? That's a question for all of us, myself included. And by the way, if you're liking this video, like it. Don't forget to like the video. We always have loads of views on the videos, but very few likes. Maybe because I forget to ask you. Please like the video if you like it. And now let's watch the last part of Naima Akef in Tamra Henna's final scene. Okay, so this is where we finish our analysis. They end up dancing joyfully with each other, but it's not going to end well. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I want you to notice in this last section that I've shown you the little movements in the hips. Once again, I'm going to call your attention to the hips, and they're not fancy movements. They're not acrobatic circus movements, although she comes from the circus, literally, but they're very sharp, they're very tiny, and they're very in sync with the music. Her hips can talk, that's what I'm saying, and they have a very simple, straightforward kind of talk that reaches you where it hurts. We don't need fancier and we don't need more complicated, not necessarily. We need to read the music in a way that comes from the heart and reaches the heart of the audience if there is an audience. I really love that about this particular scene and about Naima Akef's dance. She knew, just like Tahia Carioca, another name you might want to check, another name from the golden era. She just knew, or they just knew, that the core of Egyptian dance was and will always be the hips. And it's not about impressing an audience. It's not about making more or more complicated. It's about moving in tune with the music coming from your heart, coming from a heart-centered decision. Now, what is it that you want to say about this beautiful Naima Akef interpretation? What is it that you want to share in terms of what you have watched with me in this video? I would love to know your opinion about this performance by Naima Akef. I did not mention everything there is to mention because our video would be 1 hour long. And I have shared what I feel may be the most interesting for you today, but there is so much more to explore in this video, and I would love to know what you think about it. So please drop a comment in the comment section to tell me what you thought about this video and what you think about this performance by Naima Akef in the movie Tamra Henna. Once again, like the video if you liked it, share it with your dance peeps, recommend it to your dance peeps, and don't forget to join our free masterclass, The Legends of Egyptian Dance, offered by Joana Saahirah's online dance school, our pioneering online dance school. For more information about our free masterclass and how to join it, please follow the link I'm sharing in the description box below this video. One more time, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Click on the notifications bell button to be warned every time we have new goodies into the channel, and don't forget to subscribe to our free and fabulous Joana Saahirah's online dance school newsletter if you are a hardcore lover of authentic Egyptian dance and personal empowerment. All the information about our newsletter, our school, our free masterclass, The Legends of Egyptian Dance, and the webinar with Karen von Newkirk, and also the other reactions I've already shared in the channel, all of it, all this goodness and more is, as usual, in the description box below the video. Jump in there and enjoy the ride. I hope to see you and dance with you soon.